Hey Cormdale kids! I am so excited to see you this morning, and today I wanted to take a little bit of a different spin on our Tuesday morning devotional. So some of you may remember a few years ago when we taught the books of the Bible at Kids Club. So I'm going to do that today, and it's going to be a little longer video than normal, but if you stick with me through the end, you will hear the song and you will see the motions from Genesis to Revelation. So first we're going to do is we're going to learn all the motions of all the books of the Bible on the Old Testament and the New Testament. So let's start in the Old Testament with Genesis, and we're going to go through these fairly quickly. So if you want to do the motions, great. If you just want to fast forward to the end until you hear the song and do it that way, that's fine too. But we're going to go slower with the motions and then do the whole song at the end. Okay, so first is Genesis, and that's when God made the world. So you're going to shape the world with your hands. The second book of the Bible is Exodus, and that's when the Israelites made their big exodus out of Egypt. So you're going to go with your hands out from your chest and kind of open up like they're exiting or the Red Sea is parting. So that's Genesis, Exodus. Leviticus is when God gives all the regulations and laws for the Israelites on how they are to worship and sacrifice. So this is going to be worship and then giving thanks to God. So this is Leviticus. Numbers is when they took a census of all the people. So you're going to hold your palm out flat and you're going to count like you're counting people. And then Deuteronomy is when we hear the 10 Commandments for the second time. So we're going to make a number 10 with our hands, and we're going to make a big sunburst. So this is Deuteronomy, the 10 Commandments. Then we're going to move on to Joshua. And Joshua was a warrior, and he led the Israelite army. So we're going to put a shield on. We're going to be Joshua. Judges is the next book, and this is when God assigns judges to rule Israel. They're kind of like kings. So a judge today kind of has a gavel, and they pound it on the desk. So this is going to be Judges. Ruth is all about the loving kindness and redemption of God. So Ruth also, she went to a field and she picked barley out of a field from a man named Boaz. And so we're going to show Ruth picking barley. So this is the motion for Ruth, like you're picking plants out of a field. 1st and 2nd Samuel are really easy. All these next books are all about the kings of the Old Testament. So 1st Samuel, 2nd Samuel, 1st Kings, 2nd Kings, putting a crown on her head, and then 1st Chronicles, 2nd Chronicles. Then we're going to go to Ezra, and this is one of the first books of the Bible that talks about Jesus coming back. So we're going to make a motion of like, come back, Jesus. Make a motion with your arms, coming back. Nehemiah is when the Israelites were rebuilding the walls in Jerusalem. So we're going to rebuild with our hands like this, like you're kind of pounding hammer or you're making some walls. Esther is the book all about a Jewish queen. So we're going to make a crown like this as a Jewish queen. So then we move on to the books of poetry, which start with Job. And Job is a pretty sad book, all about suffering and sadness. So we're going to kind of cry. And this part of the song is long, so it goes Job, and you kind of go all the way down like you're crying, and you'll be there just for a little bit. And then we're going to come back, and we're going to go into the book of Psalms. And Psalms is the Jewish songbook. So you're going to be like you're conducting a choir. So this is Psalms. And then Proverbs is a book all about wisdom. So you're going to tap your temples of your forehead for wisdom. Ecclesiastes is a book that talks about how life is empty without God. So we're going to make the sign language symbol for life, which is making L's with your hands, drawing them up along your side. So this is life. And we're going to do 2 thumbs down without God. So this is Ecclesiastes, life without God. We definitely don't want to have life without God. Song of Solomon is a book about love. So we're going to draw a big heart in the air with our fingers. And then the song will say, and the prophets are, because we're going to move into the books of the major and the minor prophets. So you can cup your hands around your mouth and say, and the prophets are. And then we're going to go to Isaiah. And this book prophesies about Jesus, the Messiah, coming down to earth. So we're going to point to heaven like Jesus is coming down to earth. So we're going to go Isaiah. And Jeremiah, the theme of this book, is how God is long-suffering or patient. So we're going to do a symbol like this with our hands. This is Jeremiah. Lamentations is a book about the destruction of Jerusalem. And this word also means being very sorry about something or being very sad. So we're going to kind of do this with our fingers, like tears are coming down our cheeks. So this is Lamentations. Ezekiel is a prophet who said this, but Jerusalem has hope. Okay, so we're going to be very strong with this, but Jerusalem has hope. So this is a symbol for Ezekiel, hope. Daniel was a man who prayed a lot. So we're going to say Daniel, and then we're going to bow our head. Now the song will say, oh yeah, and if you remember from the book of Daniel, it was Daniel and the lion's den, so we're going to do some lions. So we're going to say, oh yeah, like you're being claws of lions. And then we're going to go into the minor prophets, and this goes a little bit fast. So you practice it a few times, I'm sure you'll get it. The first one is Hosea, and this book talks about how God is faithful even when we're not. So thumbs up for God, thumbs down for us, because God is faithful and we're not. Joel is the next book, and this book talks about repentance, and repentance is when you turn from your sin toward obedience. So we're going to make a U-turn with our finger in the air. We're turning from sin and we're going toward obedience. So that's Joel. Amos talks about measuring up to God's standard. So we're going to kind of do a little miniature karate chop in the air like we're measuring something, measuring up to God's standard. Obadiah is the shortest book in the Old Testament. So we're going to make a little teeny tiny O with our hands, and this is the symbol for Obadiah. And I bet you have a guess as to what the symbol for Jonah is. Remember, Jonah was swallowed by a big fish. So we're going to make a big fish mouth, and we're going to clamp it shut. So this is Jonah. The next book is Micah, and this talks about God's mercy and his judgment. So we're going to put our arms up to heaven like we're begging God for his mercy. So our arms are raised. This is Micah. And then Nahum is a book that talks about how the powerful city of Nineveh falls under God's judgment. So we're begging for mercy, and then in Nahum, Nineveh falls. We're going to fall, we're going to hit our knees with our hands, and our head is bowed like we're falling into judgment. And the next book is Habakkuk, and so this book talks about how God is in control. So we're going to raise our hands back up to heaven. So it kind of goes Jonah, Micah, Nahum, Habakkuk. It goes up and down, up and down. Zephaniah is another book that talks about God's judgment. So we're going to be up in the air with Habakkuk because God is in control, but then God has judgment, so we're going to make a big X with our arms and we're going to swipe it down. Zephaniah. Haggai is a book that talks about the importance of putting God first. So we're going to raise our hand in front of our face, God first, and make a number 1 with your finger. Zechariah is when the Israelites were encouraged to rebuild the temple. So we are going to rebuild the temple with our hands like this. And Malachi talks about the messenger who was going to prepare the way for the Messiah. It talks about John the Baptist coming and preparing the way for Jesus. So we're going to go like this, like we're preparing the way. And that is all the books of the Old Testament. So let's go right into the New Testament. Now these go super fast, but they're really pretty easy to learn. So let's start with the Gospels. We're going to make the symbol for Jesus 4 times. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. That's it for the first 4 books, so that's pretty easy. Then for Acts, this is a book about the history of the church. So we're going to make like a little church. Have you ever done that? Here's the church, here's the steeple, open the doors and see all the people. Well, here's the church for Acts. And then Romans is a book about how you can only be saved through faith in Jesus. So we're going to kind of do a little dance, like only Jesus. So this is Romans. 1 Corinthians and 2 Corinthians, we're going to do the number sign again to make it pretty easy. So 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians. And then Galatians is about the fruit of the Spirit. I'm sure you've heard that if you've been watching the videos on our Cormdale Kids website. So Galatians, we're going to pretend like we're eating an apple. So take a big bite of your apple. Ephesians is a book that talks about the body of the church. So we're going to make a muscle man pose like you're a bodybuilder. So we have Galatians, Ephesians. Philippians is a book that talks about friendship. So if you have a friend near you, reach out and shake their hand. If you don't have a friend near you, then just kind of go like this, like you're pretending to shake someone's hand. Colossians talks about how Jesus is supreme over all, about he's over everyone and he is high above all things. So you're going to reach your arms as high as you can and you're going to make jazz hands like this. Colossians. So moving on to 1 Thessalonians, it talks about how Jesus is going to return one day. We're going to keep it easy. We're going to do 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, and then we're going to flip our hands around because it's going to go into 1 Timothy and 2 Timothy. So we have 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy. Titus is a book that talks about how to live with high standards. So you're going to stand tall and puff out your chest. You're living with high standards. And Philemon talks about forgiveness. So we're going to take our hands and we're going to wash them, pretending to wash them like we're being cleansed from all our sin. Hebrews talks about how Jesus' blood was the ultimate sacrifice. So you're going to stretch your arms outward by your sides like a cross, and you're going to bow your head because it's all about Jesus. So this is Hebrews. James is a book that talks about what it means to have true faith. So you're going to step 1 foot forward and you're going to do jazz hands real close to your face like this. So this is James. 1 Peter and 2 Peter, we're just going to jump. 1 Peter, 2 Peter, and then we're going to hold up our other hand for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, and we're going to jump again. 1st, 2nd, 3rd John. And then Jude is a book that talks about false teachers. So we're going to go, like, oh no, they're false teachers. We don't want to listen to them. So Jude. And the last book, you guys, we're almost there, is Revelation. And it talks about how God is going to bring judgment, but in the end, he will make all things new. So the last motion is Revelation. And then we'll go through a couple more motions. There's a closing chorus to the song. But I want you to hear the song as I do the motions right now. Hey guys, we are going to try this song from start to finish, from Genesis to Revelation. And I would love it if you already know the books of the Bible to a different song. That is totally fine. Or if you're learning it to this song, maybe you don't do the motions, maybe you just sing the song or say the books. But I would love you to have your moms and dads post a video in the comments, and I would love to send you a treat in the mail. Or if you want to save it till we get back together in person and say them to me in person, I would love that too, and I will have a treat for you as well. So we're going to start it with Genesis to Revelation, and it's going to go fast. Are you ready? Here we go.
Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Esther, Job.
Okay, show me your best dance moves. Here we go, it's gonna go fast.
John, Acts and Romans, 1 Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Philippians, Colossians, 1 Thessalonians, 2 Thessalonians, 1 Timothy, 2 Timothy, Titus and Philemon, Hebrews and James, and 1 Peter, 1, 2, 3 John, Jude, and the Revelation. These are the books of the Bible. I read it for my survival every day. I got inside my heart. It's the only way to start. I offer it not every
Woo! We made it, you guys. That was fantastic. Don't forget to post a video of you doing the books of the Bible, and I will have a special treat for you. I will also post the links to this YouTube video and the song so you can play it on your own home computer. I cannot wait to see what you guys do. Learning the books of the Bible is going to affect you the rest of your life, and it will be amazing. Have a great week, and I hope to see you soon.